Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 5 of season 7 of our F124 Haas driver career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the first sprint of the season in Shanghai, China. Of course, if you missed out on the last video that went live from Japan over the weekend, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Suzuka, it was actually a pretty interesting little Grand Prix, a real race of strategy that was rather interesting. Sadly, it did mean I bagged my third second place finish in a row, which is a pretty impressive track record so far. 4 different winners from the opening 4 Grand Prix means that George Russell now on 69 points at the top of the table. Nice. Oscar Piastri second ahead of Charles Leclerc and myself there. All of us covered by just 13 points after the opening few races. A very consistent Enzo Fittipaldi as well, currently running in P6 overall in the World Championship. Constructors-wise, we are not a million miles away from Aston Martin at the moment. A million miles away from Mercedes, we've got a nice gap over Aston Martin and Red Bull, with Pierre Gasly picking up his second points finish of the year. But of course, yeah, a sprint weekend though is going to give us a lot of driving to be getting on with. It's also been a long time since I drove here in Shanghai. Get yourself subscribed if you're new. We're trying to hit 140,000 subs, and if you want to help support the channel a little bit more, you can click the join button for just £1 a month. You get early access to all the videos and a few other little perks as well. But without further ado then, let's head here to Shanghai.
Well, here we go again. Welcome back to Shanghai. Welcome back to qualifying in China. And this is a technical, tricky track. Whoever takes pole is going to deserve it.
Well, this has always been one of the trickiest tracks in the F1 game to really get a lap hooked up. Just so much commitment and bravery needed. But also, again, just helped along by how good the AI are as well. Obviously, this turn 1, turn 2 complex of corners I absolutely love, though. So satisfying when you get it right in so many different lines that you can obviously take through those first couple of corners. Of course, we took a bit of a shock pole last weekend at Suzuka, so I'd love to do the same here, ready for the sprint race as well. We've still never had much luck in sprints inside F124, so maybe Season 7 can finally be the year where things go a little bit better for us, as well. Just trying to keep the car nice and planted through the exit of the S's. It's normally the back end of Sector 2 where we really start to struggle. There is George Russell and McLaren. They've had such a good car over 1 lap qualifying performances so far this year, but as long as we can keep close to him, saved a fair amount of battery ready for this back straight, so we'll try and open that up as early as we can, and then just keep trying to drain the charge and hopefully reel in George Russell to make our way down in towards the hairpin here. You can see we are gaining, looking at about the 100-meter board for the braking point there. Such a big braking zone. Was originally, when Shanghai was introduced to the calendar, the longest straight in Formula 1 for a short period, but at the final corner then, it's not quite going to be P1, it's P4. Honestly here, I'm happy with that. Well, there we go then. Russell will take pole position ahead of Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc, so 4 cars from 4 different teams making up your top 4. Lando, Norris in P5 there, just ahead of Fittipaldi, and Pierre Gasly, a very good effort by our teammate then to end up less than 1/10 of a second behind us. So Haas, we look to be on the money this weekend. This is a track that tests kind of all aspects of the car, so as we head into the sprint, I'm feeling a little bit confident. Well, here we are then, down on the grid, ready for the Shanghai sprint. Lining up P4, we need to get a good start here in towards that first corner. Mediums, I think, are going to be the way to go, but if we can just hold the apex tight through turn 1, that would be really useful there. Maybe pick up a couple of freebies. 5 red lights up on the grid, though. A mighty long hole, but it is going to be lights out and away we go then, and responding fairly well. Someone, Enzo Fittipaldi there, has had a lightning getaway to get between myself and Leclerc down at turn 1. We will try and see, though, if we can force that door back open through turn 1 and turn 2. 3 wide on the exit of the corner there. I can hear a bit of contact on my inside as Oscar Piastri tries to get around the outside of George Russell, but in the end then, we've gained 1 spot for the start here. Oscar Piastri still trying to have a look past Georgie boy there, and I mean, both of them already obviously winners so far this season. Of course, the sprint won't technically count to our different winners so far this campaign. Russell then just having the confidence on the inside of the S's there as we almost run into the back of Oscar. That's definitely going to be part of the track where we are very, very strong, but it's off the exit of some of these corners in Sector 2 definitely is where you can still see the AI's traction control inside this game there. I mean, this corner is so difficult to put the throttle down, and you can kind of see the way the AI, they kind of twitch and turn over and over, which is kind of obviously allowing them to get the power down in a much, much more efficient way than I am able to there. But already, top 3 just starting to break away a little bit from the group of cars behind. DRS is going to be super, super important in this one. As long as we can hang with our top 2, that is going to be critical. Well, I think we have immediately then got the DRS gap up over Charles Leclerc then, so he's going to be stuck battling with Fittipaldi throughout most of this sprint race then. But yeah, George Russell looks to be a man on a mission early on, but now as Oscar Piastri gets the DRS, Russell's going to try and go defensive from him. Just see them both battling, trying to save up charge down the end of the back straight there, but that gap to the guys behind really opening up very quickly. Could this be your 3 that fight for the World Championship this year? Only time will tell as we don't go fastest, sorry. Oscar Piastri, though, will have a look to the inside of Russell down in towards turn 1, who will come out on top in this scenario, as we will just try and find the best line we possibly can there. We will sneak to the inside of George through turn 1. Oscar's still trying to hang it around the outside on the exit, might be able to get the power down there, and will move through then up into the lead of the GP. We're going to try and capitalise as well. To the inside of Russell we will go. I think that McLaren is the quickest of the 3, so if we can give him more work to do, that would be really useful.
Back by about 3/10 a lap, well done.
There we go, to the inside of Oscar Piastri then, and this time round he's going to try and hook it up the long way around, and he's actually going to try and switch me through the second part there. Brilliant battling between myself and the Ferrari man. We should hopefully be able to get the power down on the exit. Oh, turn 3 there, but no! Oscar, that Ferrari has got so much traction at the moment. That thing, yeah, is a very, very different car to what we used to drive. Oh, over at Maranello. Oh, a tiny bit of wheel banging. I think we just picked up a tiny bit of front wing damage as well. So that might just start to cost us a little bit of performance over these next couple of laps. But still, we're going to try and have a look. Oh, to the inside of Oscar there. Clearly didn't spot me in his blind spot. And well, we've now picked up a bit more front wing damage then. This is more like touring cars at the moment. So that will definitely start to cost us though. So we need to try and get past Oscar as soon as we can. Try and keep him at bay there, as you can already see the understeer as we make our way out into the back straight. I mean, maybe we were a bit optimistic in that move, but just wanted to try and get the car back to the inside of the Ferrari. 220 miles an hour we just touched on as we make our way down the back straight. To the outside though on the brakes. Can we try and again this time around get the run off of the corner? We're going to be wheel to wheel in towards this final turn. Feels like a little bit of a scary one, but we will slam the door shut. And finally, we are into the lead there, and even Russell is going to be able to try and come past Oscar as well. Back in towards turn 1. No idea who's going to come out in top in that scenario. I believe it is George. Oh no, here comes George Russell. He's got a big run on me this time round. Luckily, just trying to manage our ERS as best as we can. Make sure we've got enough to defend from him there as Russell to the outside. Very, very late on the brakes there. Oh, we actually lock up the front slightly. That kind of rolls me into him a little bit more. So yeah, we are definitely getting the elbows out this afternoon as Russell will send it through that final corner. We will get the switch back though again on the exit. 4 laps to go with this sprint race here, and this is exactly, I'm sure, what the FIA were hoping for with these sprints. Wheel-to-wheel racing, as now even the likes of Fittipaldi are getting back in the battle there. Oscar Piastri tries to go the long way around George. We've got yellow flags out for someone else who might be falling to the wayside here. I believe that might be a Sauber car, so not too sure which one of those that is. It's Fred Vesti that is going to be our first retirement in this afternoon's sprint. But yeah, Oscar Piastri now, I mean, we are just causing a huge train. Oh, again, then everybody is just hounding us as we make our way down this back straight. Oscar Piastri trying to have a look to the inside this time round, so he got a run on not only myself, but also George Russell then, as he will hop over the curbing down to that hairpin. We've got to try and just hang alongside him as best as we can there, but we will just sit back in through that final corner. I mean, the important bit for us is that we maintain track position in through the first sector, because otherwise we're just going to lose far too much time against the AIs. Down the inside once again. Will Oscar able to find the grip, find the confidence around the outside there? He's certainly going to look to try for it. He's got the inside line through turn 2. We'll really try and pinch him on the exit of the corner there, and again he gets squirrely. And again we will get the power down, but here comes Enzo Fittipaldi now, potentially trying to move up into P2. He almost runs into the back of us there, but look at that, Fittipaldi potentially making the move happen. Oscar Piastri still hanging on for now though. They're wheel to wheel up in towards the S's. This is great racing to see from the Ferrari duo, but I believe Oscar's held on perhaps. No, Fittipaldi. Yeah, Fittipaldi now having to try and defend from George Russell yet again there. So Ferrari now up into a double podium at the moment, but Oscar again trying to have a look down the inside, this time round at the hairpin, and has that suddenly given myself and Oscar Piastri a bit of breathing room from Fittipaldi and Russell a little bit further back here. I think Oscar again, not going to be much of a fight we can put up against him, so we make our way down the back straight. There goes the Ferrari man, so we will tuck into the slipstream, try and keep him defensive on the inside line in towards the hairpin. Oh, no! No. We have been absolutely tipped around there. No idea. I think that was Fittipaldi, and I think that's caused a roadblock down at the hairpin. I don't even think that's the first time we've seen that on this game there, but Fittipaldi way too hot on the entry into the hairpin there. It's too late for a safety car in this race, and now we're going to start losing cars then. Zhou Guanyu out of the Grand Prix, Teo Porcher out of the Grand Prix. I think the AI have figured themselves out now, but Fittipaldi 3.5 seconds back, and I can't help but feel that he caused that. Well, although the final race result then isn't quite going to be what we want, we can certainly take a bit of confidence from this sprint race there. When the car's not damaged, it is very, very quick around this venue, and that's not something I can say very often here in Shanghai. It's kind of one of those weird things with the Haas of early on in the game, it's kind of got no real strong point, which is kind of a disappointment for it. But as you kind of move further through, of course, it's also got no real weak point, which seems to be really playing into our hand now this late on in the campaign. Fittipaldi has rocked up to the back of me on this last lap, but you best believe I'm going to be doing everything within my power to try and keep the position ahead of him here as we try and run defensive down the back straight. He will use all of his available energy as well, but I think he might just have used a little bit too much as trying to move across into the braking zone. Oscar Piastri uncontested at the end of the afternoon. He will win the first sprint of this new season. Russell will come through for P2, and in all of the commotion, we will hang on for a podium. Well, there we are. Oscar Piastri will take sprint race glory here, 2 seconds ahead of Russell. Come the checkered flag, we will come through for third ahead of Enzo Fittipaldi there. Gasly will just hang on for P5 and pick up yet another 4 points to add to his tally as well there. Norris ahead of Ricciardo, who I believe... No, that isn't VCarb's first points of the year, is it? But it will mean now he's just 2 points back from Logan Sargent, which is quite impressive. Constructors-wise, no other movement. We have closed in on Mercedes, though. That gap to just 3 points now at the top of the table. The gap at the top slashed to just 8 points between Russell and Oscar Piastri. I guess we jumped Charles Leclerc as well, which I'm pretty happy with overall. But yeah, let's put that out of the way. We know we've got a quick race car. Let's head into the proper qualifying. Well, we did a pretty good job in our sprint qualifying run, so hopefully we can try and emulate, if not beat that time, as we head into real qualifying here. I mean, look how fast we can take turn 1. Completely flat on the entry there, and it's actually just obviously about scrubbing off speed for turn 2, that I think is really compromising us through the exit of that corner. Of course, we know we can use a lot of battery right the way through those first couple of turns there. Charles Leclerc, of course, the actual man that wiped me out in the sprint. Enzo Fittipaldi, I apologise for blaming you, as we've got a DRS failure. How on earth does that happen in one-shot qualifying on this game? Worryingly, I think this is not the first time it's ever happened to me on this title, and the last time it happened as well was also in Shanghai, so that's certainly going to compromise us as we get out onto the back straight. Luckily, obviously, That's kind of really the only DRS zone that's going to matter around the rest of this lap then. But such a stupid little fault then, far too early in the weekend. And of course, well, that's not ideal either. That wasn't your phone or PC or anything freezing. That was F124 apparently on my end. As we try and put the power down, then down the back straight, you can see we're trying not to lose out too much to Leclerc. But he is slowly pulling away from me. So we make our way down in towards the hairpin. Again, try and tap the curves nice and tidily. Get that power down. One more corner to go. Hopefully, we can still get ourselves inside the top 10. A little bit wide out of that final turn. We do a 29.2. That puts us P7. Well, there we go then. Lando Norris pole position this time round ahead of Charles Leclerc and George Russell. Fittipaldi will out-qualify Gasly, Piastri and myself there. So I believe that's the second time this year, maybe the third actually, that Pierre Gasly has out-qualified us, ready for a Grand Prix. Alonso, been a bit quiet this year. He will line up in P8, comfortably clear of his teammate of Théo Pourchaire then. But we've got our work cut out as we head into the Grand Prix. This is not where I wanted to start.
The Chinese Grand Prix then is upon us once again. A race that saw Michael Schumacher claim his final Formula One victory in 2006, as well as Red Bull's first with Sebastian Vettel in 2009. There's no doubt plenty more drama to come here in Shanghai. Shanghai International Circuit then is a 16-corner high-speed thrill ride. The long and ever-tightening right-hander at turns 1 and 2 tests the driver's patience, and the flat open to the elements location tests their skill in a crosswind. 2 DRS zones will assist passing, and they're available into turn 1 and down the kilometre-long back straight into turn 14. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Fittipaldi, Gasly, Oscar Piastri, Firestarter, Fernando Alonso, Sargent, Hamilton, Tsunoda, Perez, Théo Pourchaire, Ocon, Behrman, Iwasa, Joe, Stroll, Ricciardo, and Frederic Vesti. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race.
Well, here we are then down on the grid, ready for the Chinese Grand Prix. And, well, ultimately the soft compound tyre just does not work here. So I'm going to try and throw a little bit of an interesting strategy at this race. We're going to start on the hards. Hopefully we can kind of keep up with the AI early on and then have a bit of an advantage into the second half of the GP. Lining up 7th place, though, we need to try and get a good start here. 5 red lights down on the grid. Mighty long hole, but it is lights out, and away we go then for the Chinese Grand Prix. It looks like neither myself or Fernando Alonso has got off to a particularly good getaway in towards turn 1. Leclerc is going to have free running down to that first turn. We're going to try and use the aerodynamics of the car there to get not only back around the outside of Alonso, but maybe past our teammate in Pierre Gasly as well then. So actually gaining a spot off of the start there, so pretty happy with that one. Oscar Piastri and obviously George Russell spent most of yesterday's sprint battling it out. So I'm sure we're going to see more from those two into the Grand Prix proper there, as Leclerc already just trying to pull away a little bit of a margin as Enzo Fittipaldi tried to hook it up around the outside of Lando Norris in towards the S's here. But especially in the very early laps, it is going to be critical that we keep hold of these harder compounded tyres and stay in the DRS range of the cars in front of us then. Make sure that this works for us early on. The other big thing, of course, is don't work these hard tyres too aggressive too early. Otherwise, this circuit can be quite prone to overheating as well there. But yeah, Leclerc, though, really good start for... Mercedes even didn't look that good in the sprint race yesterday. So, obviously, apart from Leclerc absolutely wiping me out, didn't really do a lot else of any note there. As all Russell goes from trying to defend from one Ferrari to attacking the other one. I'd love to see Enzo Fittipaldi start stringing together more and more big results this season. He has been very consistent early on, however. Well, Mark already informing me then on just lap 5 that we've got to start trying to make an impact here against Oscar Piastri and try and make a move happen. Lando Norris now is leading the way in hot pursuit. Goes Enzo Fittipaldi, still with Leclerc in that 3rd spot, but we've kind of navigated the worst of it for ourselves early on on these harder compound tyres. Obviously, it is now just a question of trying to, utilise the advantage when the momentum does swing in our favour. I guess the other really odd thing about Shanghai on the F1 games is it's one of the only circuits that is front limited. So you've got to be very, very careful with kind of how you set up the car for the front tyres there. Is now trying to look around the outside of Oscar Piastri.
Mate, you hit the target well there. Nice one. There's a long way to go in this race though, so keep your head down.
Almost finding a way around George Russell as well, but not quite enough confidence and momentum to get around in there. Of course, these two top two in the World Championship, but Leclerc and myself are not far behind. Oh, here we go, there we go. Just finding a little bit of extra bite from the front end there, and immediately, before it's even happened, you can just tell we were going to be able to get the run on George Russell. So maybe now we're just starting to get to the transition point between the medium and the hard compound tyre, starting to be the best one here. I mean, what is the wear on those fronts at the moment? 17% on that front left, so we could easily take this set of tyres kind of towards, lap 20 or so. Again, I don't really think we could gamble trying to run a soft compound towards the end of the race, but if we could get like a well-timed safety car or a red flag, that could be a real difference maker. As Charles Leclerc then is going to have no DRS to defend himself, so we're going to have to be strategic in how we go for this move, because we need to make sure that we close in on Fittipaldi as well, who I think is barely hanging inside the range of Lando Norris at the front of the order here. Let's see what we can do though against Charles Leclerc. Making our way down the back straight to the outside we'll go of the Mercedes man. And there we go, up into the podium places, but Leclerc, just like we saw yesterday, going to try and get back to our inside. This time around he'll get the car slowed down before the apex of the corner, and now, yeah, you can just see really pushing through that final corner, but we should get the gap to Fittipaldi down. Well, I'll be honest, at the moment, I feel like it's a shame you can't run a double hard stint here in China, because this is really, really working for us at the moment. I honestly think these tyres could have been great for the sprint. Of course, you then not have any ready for the main event, which would be a little bit awkward there, as well, trying to turn them into 50 pence pieces in towards that hairpin that time round. I would assume the AI going to be diving in probably end of lap 12 or so. So we are going to have, quite a big aggregate in the second half of the GP. But yeah, Leclerc now falling out of our DRS range. I've noticed as well that up in towards turn 1 and turn 2, or as we slide down the inside of Enzo Fittipaldi, we're barely using the brake when we've not got DRS. Just the amount of downforce on this car, the amount of front end, you're just cycling down the gears. You're not even having to manually slow the car down. Well, that's not ideal. Just a little bit of a slip up there as we try and get the power down out of the hairpin. And, well, we don't know if we were going to hang on inside the DRS range of Lando Norris anyway, but we're certainly not now then, as Awasa becomes our first retirement of the day. Look at Pierre Gasly flying past both myself and maybe also George Russell down in towards the hairpin there. But all that progress we made up early on starting to get undone in just one quick moment. Gasly still to the inside of Russell. So you see, absolutely hangs him out to dry there, and we will say thank you very much. Spot what was going to happen nice and early, and back up then into P5. The important bit is here, we don't lose our cool. It's only one little error, and we're still in a strong spot. Oh, here we go. Oscar Piastri up against Charles Leclerc, and of course two of my former title rivals. And look at that, Leclerc. Does he want to do anything this weekend that doesn't involve contact down at that hairpin? Because he's just trying to take swipes out of anybody he can, by the looks of it at this stage of the race. I maybe am just starting to push these tyres a little bit too hard at the moment. Still, yeah, not struggling with it overheating, though, at the rear end. But Oscar Piastri will make it through and back up into the podium places. Can we try and go the long way around Charles Leclerc as well? Yes, we will. Absolutely force our way into that fight. And Leclerc then is going to lose another spot. Oh, damn it. Just again.
Okay, be careful with the front wing.
Come on.
You've taken some minor damage.
Tiny bit of front wing damage. Hopefully that won't make too much of a difference, but that is the one thing I'm noticing with these hard compounded tyre Yes, they feel really good for the most part, but they're so difficult to work out when you get them right onto the limit there. And again, it is going to cost us time and track position here. So I feel like we're quick. I do feel like we're quick, but just a couple of little errors sneaking in here and there at the moment. Luckily, again, we're not too far behind our teammate Pierre Gasly. As are we going to see Carl start to dive into the pit lane? Yes, we will. McLaren in of George Russell, Gasly in, Alonso in, and I believe Oscar Piastri as well. Yep, there you go, in the Ferrari. So immediately we're back up into P4 once more. But we are now going to be a good 8-9 seconds behind Lando Norris, which is a much bigger gap than I wanted, considering they are going to get an undercut on me. Well, I assume then end of 14, half distance here. We are going to see the rest of our runners into the pit lane. Fittipaldi in, Charles Leclerc in, I believe. Yeah, Lando Norris will also be into the pit stop. So what is going to be the gap to Lando Norris then? Is for the first time, I believe, today we are going to take the lead of the Grand Prix. I just need to know what the gap is going to be to Lando Norris here when he comes back out, so we know how much time we're losing into the second half of this race. Lando there hoping maybe got held up a little bit in the pit lane anyways. Oscar Piastri has already made this work. We've got like 16 seconds over Lando. I think if that gap comes down below 12, then we're going to have to box.
Gap to your teammate behind, 20.1 seconds.
Oh, that's not good. That's really not good. Oscar Piastri took 2 seconds out of me that lap, so did Norris just in front of him. I guess the only other hope we can have is that if they start battling with each other, because Oscar Piastri quietly has just brought his way to the front now and has got inside the DRS range of his former teammate. But yeah, we're just starting to set kind of 1 minute 34s. I'm still undecided. Do we just go to the medium in a couple of laps, or do we really just try and kind of throw caution to the wind here and go for an aggressive strategy? I think if we were to box to softs on lap 20, that could work. Oh no, we've got another DRS failure. Are you joking? 2 DRS failures this weekend. So I guess there's no point boxing just yet then, because we won't be able to use the DRS against the others. I'm just going to try and stay out here, I think, for as long as we sensibly can. We'd get to about 23, I think, before Lando would be able to get past. We're coming towards the end of lap 20 then. Tyre wear warning light has finally flashed up. And this has just been one of those horrible, horrible races where you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Front wing damage is absolutely fine. I can't really notice that at all. I'm looking at the gaps down the order though. I think we could still get back to about Alonso by the end of the GP. I think he's going to come out about 10 seconds ahead of me here. But a very, very short blast towards the end of the afternoon on the medium. They're not going to bother risking it with the soft. I don't want to end up in an even worse situation after we've pit there. But trying to get the power down on the way into the pit lane. Make sure we don't take too many risks. 49 of a 50 mile an hour limit there as Norris will head straight back into the lead of the Grand Prix. And probably for the second weekend, is really not going to look back here. Gasly, Russell will fly past us. There goes Leclerc. Of course we did. I mean, that just kind of sums up this race, doesn't it? Things aren't going particularly well anyway, and still, the team managed to blunder the pit stop there as we're going to come out wheel to wheel with Yuki Tsunoda. But luckily, yeah, we've got the inside line. We've got much fresher, much grippier tyres. 11 seconds the gap to Leclerc. That's probably what we're aiming for at this point. No! And it's over anyway. Gearbox is gone. I haven't done anything to that gearbox, Mark. It's completely scripted. It's because the fact that we pit and then immediately the gearbox goes is what's annoyed me there. But our first mechanical failure of the season, honestly, it's probably come at a pretty good time because we weren't going to score that many points anyway. Are we, Mark? Are we really? Yeah, we'll look out for that, buddy, I'm sure. We're out of the Chinese Grand Prix.
The wait is over! Lando Norris takes the checkered flag!
A great display of dominance today by this driver. They led from lights out to the flag at the end, led every lap of the race. Brilliant stuff by them, and excited to see what more they can do in future races.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be McLaren picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
Well, there we are then. Lando Norris becomes our first repeat winner of the season, taking victory in both Japan and here in Shanghai. Oscar Piastri comes through for second, ahead of Enzo Fittipaldi, making it a double Ferrari podium. Alonso beats out Leclerc. Gasly with 8 points on the board, so I think he's tripled his point score this weekend then with those points in the sprint. Russell, a pretty disappointing result, down in 7th ahead of Hamilton, Tsunoda and Teo Pourchaire gets back inside the points there. Just myself and Awasa that failed to see the checkered flag when all is said and done. Taking a look at our championship standings, it's going to mean that Oscar Piastri now back on top by 4 points ahead of George Russell. Lando up to 3rd ahead of Leclerc and myself there, with Enzo Fittipaldi still ahead of both Aston Martins. But yeah, Gasly starting to look a bit more respectable in the last couple of weekends as he jumps both of those Red Bulls as well there. Constructors-wise, McLaren still lead ahead of Ferrari. Mercedes now, the gap slashed to just 9 points over ourselves, though, as we leave Shanghai. But hopefully the team can get the mechanical issues sorted, because we don't want too many of them plaguing us throughout the year. Thank you all so much for watching, though. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns, ready for the second sprint in a row back in Miami.